everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Mind Over Matter, the Mom Podcast, a space where we have conversations with incredible women who embody strength, resilience, intentionality in their motherhood journey and their career journey and self-growth. And welcome to another episode. Today, I am with an incredible woman, as they all are, Gabriella Nandi.
Hello. Hi.
Welcome.
Thank you.
You're well.
Yes, I'm
Thank you
doing
for
well.
coming to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Finally.
Yes.
It's been well. I met Gabriella at our event, Mama Yumata event.
Yes.
And it was really, really incredible getting to know you. I mean, you shared a lot.
Yeah.
And I was like, I need to have her on the podcast. And today is the day that the Lord has made.
Amen.
All right. So,
Yes.
Karibu.
Thank you. Thank you
How
so
are you
much.
feeling?
I'm feeling good.
Yeah.
I love just being able to come here and just have a nice discussion with you
Okay.
about being a mom.
Yeah.
You know, as soon as you become a mom, it becomes your passion.
Yeah.
It becomes
your
part of your
entire
identity.
personality. Yes.
Yeah, and there's not enough spaces really that give you this just an open space to share things just
Yeah.
as they are, to encourage others. So I'm so happy to be here.
All right,
Yeah.
amazing. So, and you're wondering who Gabriella is? Gabriella is a devoted physiotherapist, a mother, and the founder of The Health Hub. And she works with postpartum moms and everything physical health, nutrition, good living, basically. So, and I am happy to have you here. We're going to walk through your journey and so much more. Are you ready?
Amazing. Yes.
Yeah. So, but as the tradition is, we always start off with a little icebreakers.
Okay.
So, you ready?
Yes.
Icebreaker number one. What's one thing people would be surprised to know about you?
I don't know if it's a surprise. I used to be a tomboy.
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay.
like no dress, nothing, no makeup, nothing. I used to be a tomboy for most of my life actually.
Okay.
Until I was about in my 24 is when I started to become more like a lady.
What changed?
I don't know.
Age?
I think life. I think life.
Yeah.
You just start to grow more into your womanhood. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, icebreaker number two. What's a postpartum myth you hear all the time that makes you want to scream or laugh?
So this one is easy for me to answer because I experienced it, which is that giving birth is the hardest part. It's not.
It's not.
It's really not. I can't speak for everyone, of course, and I know some people go through some really tough times. But you prepare so much for the giving birth. You're like, oh, I have to do these exercises, I have to stretch, I have to do that, I have to walk. You're so prepared. And then you even do like mental, exercises, breathing exercises. And then you give birth and you think,
Yeah.
you know, the toughest time is done.
Yeah.
And it's only just
Jokes
begun.
on you. Yeah.
Jokes on you. Everything. You now that get hit by, you know what they call the fourth trimester.
Ooh, yes.
That postpartum period, which is the toughest time. And I was not prepared because in my mind, it was like, you just give birth and you breastfeed your baby who just
Yeah.
naturally takes to
Lashes
the
in,
boob
yes.
and the milk naturally comes because that's how
Yeah.
it is. And there's just so much more to know about the postpartum. And today what I would tell people is prepare more about the postpartum.
Yeah.
Yes, for sure, keep healthy, keep fit. But your birth story is not fully dependent on you. There's so many factors that you can plan everything you want and the last day it changes.
Yeah.
But the postpartum, you can really impact. So by looking for a support system, by understanding what meals you will need to be having a preparation for who's going to be doing those meals,
Yeah.
and just looking for help.
True.
Making sure there's help at night, during the day,
Yes.
if you can. Of course,
Yes.
that's a luxury that not everyone can afford because of they may be living somewhere where there's no family and things like that. But for sure, prepare so much more for that postpartum period.
And some of us who give birth in in Africa, let's say we're in Rwanda, we have a lot of help.
Yes.
If you let it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
if you let it is a very big factor here. Is the key word. Because
Yes.
sometimes we want to help, but sometimes we moms, we don't really ask or
Yeah.
accept the help that is given.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good one. A good one. I mean, it's just the preparation doesn't end at only the giving birth part,
Yes.
but after the fourth trimester needs a lot. Ooh, yes, that hit hard. Okay, so last icebreaker. Then we dive into today's conversation. We have so faith, fitness, and food. Rank them in order they show up in your day.
So
And be
it's-
honest.
And exactly, that's the trick question there
Yes.
is how does it actually show up in your day? Ideally, you want faith, fitness, and food in that order. One thing I could say that I definitely try to do is to start my day with faith. That's the truth. Yes, there are days where you wake up and you're confused and you're in a rush and you forget to read your Bible, you forget to pray, but it's something that I keep coming back to and I keep trying to make sure I do. And I'll try to, put a Bible everywhere so that I can remember. And when I take those few minutes in the morning to start off with reading the word, doing some like praying, meditating on that word, hopefully even discussing it with my husband if he's there, my day starts off so well. Everything just falls in line. My attitude towards the day is fantastic. And so, yes, that would be the first, faith, then food, hunger, spend all night breastfeeding. You wake up just so hungry. And so food and then fitness. So most of the time, as much as I would have, before I used to like working out in the morning, but ever since I had my daughter, I tend to work out in the evenings.
Okay.
Yeah, when I get the chance, yeah.
Now let's just dive right into the conversation for today. You said your daughter.
Yes.
Tell us about her.
So she's now 18 months.
Okay.
Yeah, talking, running, jumping.
yeah.
Very exciting. She's so lovely.
Yeah, she's your first?
She's my firstborn, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the only child.
And the
for
only
now.
child God willingly.
God willing.
We'll have more, but yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you are a physiotherapist.
Yes.
Tell us about your journey.
So I've always been passionate about health. Like always fascinated about how can we improve our health, even when I was really young. And so I thought I was actually going to be a doctor.
Okay.
And then when I went to school, I was so active in like sports, did every sport that was available. And then I tried to look for a profession that allows me to mix sports, being active, a bit of flexibility too, and health.
Yeah.
And I came across physiotherapy. And then that's when I started my journey. I started it in the UK. That's where I did my studies and my training. And then I stayed there to work. And then randomly one day, I felt like God was telling me to come back home.
Okay.
And so I quit my job and I came back home to Rwanda and slowly started the health hub.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but okay, what's one of the misconceptions people have about physiotherapists?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Yeah. The biggest misconception is the physiotherapists are either massage therapists. So a lot of people will be like, I don't need physio, I don't want massage. And that's not the case.
Yeah.
Or you find that a lot of the time people feel like a physiotherapist is in one field. So for example, if you've met a physiotherapist in sports, you say, oh, physiotherapists just do sports rehabilitation.
Yeah.
If you've met them in a different situation, that's what you're going to think.
Yes.
But physiotherapy is actually so broad.
Yeah.
So broad. It's pretty much in every department of health, whether postpartum, pregnancy, cancer, respiratory.
Yeah.
So there's physiotherapy pretty much in everything. But as
Holistic
a physiotherapist,
healing.
yes, holistic healing. Because you can apply most of our principles to everything. But as an individual, you might specialize in one area. You say, oh, this is what's calls to me, is what I'm passionate about. Then you really, really focus on that area.
Which area are you focusing on?
So I focus on what they call musculoskeletal
Okay.
physiotherapy, which is pretty much muscles, bones, and nerves. And in that, there's, back pains, nerve pain.
Moms, gather, please.
And then that's also where postpartum comes in.
Yeah.
Pregnancy comes in. When you're pregnant, sometimes you might have like sciatic pain. You can have back pain, pelvic girdle pain.
Yes.
Or all those things can continue even after you've given birth.
Yeah.
And then after you've given birth, there's many other complications that can come about depending on how your pregnancy was, how your birth story went. So that's where we come in as physios, and just to help you, guide you with the right exercises, the right advice, to just get you back to where you were before.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how has motherhood shaped your definition of strength?
What
does that mean?
Yes.
You're helping all these other moms be fit and other people be fit.
Yes.
For you, what is strength to you?
What is strength to me as a mother? That's a good question. I would like to turn that upside down, in that I feel like motherhood revealed a lot of weakness.
Okay.
In the sense that it really humbled me. Before you're a mother, you walk around judging. Not so harshly, but you're just like, oh, for me, I will be this kind of mother.
Yeah.
I will never be this size.
Yeah.
I will always be, fit, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to...
Or you see mom who's like, she's let herself go.
You see...
Because that's sport.
You know how we used to disturb our own mothers?
Yeah.
You need to do this, you need to do that, you need to look after yourself. My mom would just look at me like... You don't know. And I didn't know. So I think after giving birth, I can't say we have the same situation like our parents had. For theirs was so much more tough, given the history of Rwanda. But for me, just as a mother, having everything, having a good husband, a good home, still you find that it shows how weak you are, in the sense that, for example, the nights, you start to feel like you're going crazy when your baby's not sleeping all night. And then balancing your business, work, friendships, your husband.
Yes.
And when you're trying to balance all of that, it will humble you.
Yeah.
Because something will have to give.
Yes.
If you put all your ego, I guess, in your work, something's going to give there, and that will humble you. You might not be able to deliver as much as you can, to be there as often as they want you to. And then also, even in motherhood, even in your shape, even in your look, something's going to give. And that will humble you. And I think accepting that process and allowing it to really just transform you, and not holding on to too many things, I feel like that's strength. I feel like that's where the strength comes in. Because before that, you're mentally weak a little bit, because you're so focused and you hold precious your work or something, or your body or something like that. But after that, you really see strength in just resilience, and just taking one step forward each day is where the strength comes in as a mother. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, motherhood really humbles you. One thing has to give. That is my takeaway. One thing has to give, and you have to extend grace to yourself. Yeah, lovely. So, when you moved to Rwanda, were there many hubs, like health hubs?
No, there wasn't any, actually.
And okay, so being a physiotherapist, that means you handle everybody, not only like the postpartum moms.
Yes.
But then what shifted? Did you start the postpartum rehabilitation after you became a mom, or that was already in the making even before?
Okay, so at the health hub, we treat everyone, and I still, because of my because I worked for, I did a rotation, which is working in women's health when I was in the UK. I had that specialty. So I was still treating pregnant women and women who finished giving birth, even though I hadn't gone through it myself. I was doing it as a job. But then after I gave birth that's when I started to realize how important it is, because I would speak to friends and people who had given birth, and I'd find they're having struggles that really could be treated.
Yeah. I like the word you like using. You don't have to live like that.
You don't.
Yeah, you have to live in pain. You don't have to.
No,
Yes.
no, you really
It's not
don't.
normal.
And it breaks my heart when I see like ladies living like years and years with either back pain or
Guilty.
sciatica.
Guilty, but after
Yes.
today, that is gonna change.
Amen.
It's gonna change, but yes.
Yeah. So that's pretty much it. And so that's when I started like a pilot program to try and see how, because I'm used to doing one-to-one treatment, but now I'm trying to see, can I do it in a group setting? Can we combine fitness and rehabilitation together to make it fun? Because most of the exercises you do after giving birth are not fun. They're not exciting. They're
not.
boring.
Yeah.
And to do it by yourself
They're
at home.
hard.
And they're hard.
It's gonna make you more.
Yes.
Because I'm like, my back hurts. How are you going to tell me to lift all this heavy
Right,
thing?
right.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Postpartum rehabilitation most of the time isn't like weight related, and it's not very like strenuous. But a lot of people associate fitness and exercise with I have to be sweating, I have to be lifting weights, I have to be moving at a fast pace.
Say, if I don't sweat, what
What have I done?
What have I done?
Yeah. So whereas postpartum rehab is actually very slow, very mind and body connected. We're trying to just reactivate those muscles that have gone through a huge transformation. And so coming from that and just jumping into the gym, you might not feel it if you're young, but what we have seen in practice is that it comes back. It comes back to bite you after a few years when you start reaching premenopausal stage. So it's always good to take your time and first rehabilitate, set a good foundation to then build on with all the other fancy exercises you want to do.
So what are the common struggles that women, I'm going to speak for the women, the men, sorry.
Yes.
Now we're about today I'm speaking for the women. So what are one of the I don't want to say injuries, but most issues that come to you, the women are facing?
Yes.
Yeah, mostly in postpartum.
Mostly in postpartum. So in postpartum, so if I speak to what I've experienced here in Kigali, is you find there is the obvious back pain, because your core and your deeper muscles aren't strong enough to support your lower back. We have nerve-related problems where you're getting pain down your leg. We also have now pelvic floor related.
Yeah.
So in that, you can have like just incontinence, like mild incontinence.
Tell us about the pelvic floor.
Yes, nice. So pelvic floor is a group of muscles that are attached to your front and your back, where we pee and poop.
Yeah.
And so those muscles are there like it's like a hammock that holds all your organs inside. So because all your organs are like in your stomach, and so for them not to prolapse, like to go through, and
they have
the muscle that's supporting them. And then also to hold your bladder, if you want to pee, you have the muscle that stops.
I have a question about bladder, but keep going.
Yes. And then also your poop. All of that is held by a good muscle structure, and that's the pelvic floor. And so when you have a baby, the kilos of the baby as the baby grows, and the placenta and the fluid, all of that is heavy on the pelvic floor. So you have like this constant pressure on the pelvic floor whilst you're pregnant. And then when you push out the baby, you also have some trauma to the pelvic floor most of the time after giving birth. And so
even when you've gone under C-section?
Under C-section, you won't get trauma, but you will still get, because of the going to term, carrying the baby to term, you will still have that pressure on the pelvic floor. The muscles in the stomach will also be stretched. And when a muscle is stretched, it becomes weak. And sometimes it switches off, actually. So the rehabilitation, the postpartum rehab, is pretty much switching on those muscles by getting the mind-body connection, strengthening that pelvic floor that has gone through a lot.
Yeah.
Regardless of
So
whether
what
you
exercises
pushed.
do they do?
So
What exercise do we do?
there's loads of different exercises, but the one I can demonstrate like right now as I'm sat is what they call Kegels.
Yeah.
Kegels are an exercise to strengthen the pelvic floor, front and back, and you can do it in sitting as you're doing this podcast.
I'm actually doing it right now.
Yes. Some people do. No, it's okay. You can still just do like lots of squeezes, but you have to make sure you're squeezing and pulling up, as though you're trying to suck something up into your stomach.
Yes.
And make sure you involve both the front and the back because they're part of the same muscle. And then you have to do two types. You have to do one where it's like the fast twitch muscle fibers, which is a quick hold, release, hold, release. Then there's also holding for a long period of time, which builds the endurance aspect, which is just as important, right? And then the other thing is to make sure you don't do them too much, because the reality is the pelvic floor has to be able to also fully relax. So a tense pelvic floor can also cause problems, can also cause leaking, can also cause many things. So you want to be able to...
How much is too much?
So the best way to do it is you want to do it at least 3 to 4 times a day.
Okay.
Making sure in between you have period of rest, of course. It's not something like, some people you give them exercise and like, I'm going to do as much as I can, as often as I can. But you really just want to do 10 reps to like maybe 10 reps of the fast holds, 10 reps of the slow holds, and then rest. And in between each hold, you have to fully relax the pelvic floor. Don't keep the tension on.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we talked about, you mentioned something about bladder. I was like, I'm coming back to that. You know, after giving birth, how also that kind of like loosens.
Yeah.
A simple cough, laughs. Right now, like I can't hold for so long.
Yes.
Whereby before I wouldn't do like a 3-hour drive and I'm
Literally.
like, I'll maybe pee when I get there.
Yeah.
But now, my friend, better stop or else. You're just gonna see a whole mess here.
Yeah.
So how are you helping us with that?
So actually, culturally, you find that people say that it's normal. They'll say, nundi warabyaye. So it's okay, but it's not actually.
I love
because
just saying by snort.
It's not. Yeah, and that's where these exercises come in. Because first of all, that's just to let you know, that's majority of the people that you find will have some level of incontinence, whether the urgency to pee or whether being able to, hold it for long enough. But that's where the exercises come in, the workouts, the strengthening of the core, because now one component that I mentioned about the pelvic floor, there's also other muscles that work in conjunction with the pelvic floor. And I won't go into all the depth, but it's like a really big muscle.
The wellness hub.
Yes, it's a big muscle inside the stomach. So when you strengthen the core and the pelvic floor together, then you get good results. And we've seen it countless times. We've treated people who are in their 50s and have had it for many years and are able to still heal from it. Yeah. So, you shouldn't,
Oh, wow. I know I'm going to go back and forth on the physio parts of everything.
That's okay.
But now you become a mom. You've been helping other moms before you were one.
Yes.
What's one thing that surprised you when you became a mom in the fitness or in the physio space?
Yeah.
On your body.
That's a good question. I think the biggest surprise was just how loose everything gets. Like, I would see it as on the other side when I'm treating someone, but when you experience it after giving birth and you just feel like your body is falling apart, and then just the weight gain, it comes.
Even if you work out,
man, it will come.
Yeah.
And I've been reading about it, and I know there's it's linked to many things that are going on in your body after giving birth. But the weight gain also was a shock. I didn't expect to gain as much weight as I did. And then just the weakness.
Why not though? Why didn't you expect that?
Just not being humble, like just thinking, that's not going to be me. Just be like, me, no, I'm going to be like working out. I'm going to be doing all these things.
I'll snatch bag.
Yeah, I'll just,
But you talk about snatching bag. The pressure. Yeah.
That's the one, such a myth. Like, I feel people are always selling it like it's this simple thing that you just, and if you're chasing the snatch back, if you're chasing but the bounce back quick, you're going to lose a lot of things majority of the time. Don't follow a fitness influencer. You don't know what's going on behind closed doors.
Okay.
The best thing to
Noted.
do, yes, the best things to do is to follow your body.
Yeah.
If you can, get professional help, at least advice on how to do things properly, and just go your rhythm. And it took me like 1 year before I could start really working out, and that was a shock. And so going through it makes you able to do the job a lot better because you can really empathize with your client.
In your professional career or life, how has faith literally humbled you more than like the science itself? How has it carried you through?
Right.
Yeah.
That's such a good question. Thank you for asking that. So firstly, I think faith for me as a mother who's also in business has just been everything. Because, for example, I'll just give you one example to show you how it's everything.
Yeah.
After giving birth, I was so taken by being a mom and wanting to do my best that I really just wanted to quit my job, to quit life, to just
Yeah.
like be a stay-at-home mom,
Yeah.
which is completely fine.
Yeah, don't we all?
Yeah. But then I feel like my faith, I feel like God has a bigger purpose, a big purpose for me on this earth. There is being a mom, but I think there's also more that God wants from me in my health hub, in treating, in helping other mothers. And so it has just been such a guiding force, and it has, praying and getting closer to God and trying to learn God's character is what changes you. Because then you start to realize, I need to change my character. I need to be more like Jesus.
Yeah.
And so that step makes you a better mother, a better entrepreneur, a better boss. It just makes you so much more whole in everything that you do. So, and it just makes you resilient. So when things are tough and things aren't looking up, because God is a God of keeping His promise and of He promises us joy and peace and happiness. So you know that the storm is gonna pass, and so having faith just keeps you going, and especially being in the world today. There's so much that's coming at you from all directions. So having a strong foundation in God is
Everything.
yeah, it's really just everything. Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Oh, talking of the storm shall pass and having all these the challenges, but you're like, God got me. You mentioned about you coming back to Rwanda to set up the hub.
Yeah.
Can you walk us through that journey? Like, because again, you mentioned something about there were not many hubs here, or maybe physiotherapists here in Rwanda. Well, also, when was this? When you started?
This was 2018 when I started building the space.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we officially opened in 2021.
How was that starting up from scratch here in Rwanda?
It wasn't good, tough in the time.
Yeah.
In the time, it just felt like, oh, this is horrible.
Yeah.
But I had such a good support system. My father, my mother, both of them are entrepreneurs. And they were so supportive, and they were there with me. Like my father would be stood with me in the nighttime, in the daytime. So
Bless
I had
them.
that, bless them. So I had that. If I didn't have my dad there with me, I don't know if I'd have been able to complete it, because his experience is what allowed me to move forward. Because I would reach a place where I'm stuck and I don't know what to do, and then he would be able to come in and help me and advise me on how to do things better. It also, I would honestly advise everyone to start something.
Yeah.
Start something of your own.
Yeah.
Even if you have a very good job,
Yeah.
start something. Start a podcast.
Yeah.
Sell
Side
something.
hustle.
A side hustle. It just teaches you so much about life.
Yes.
And it challenges you.
Preach. Yes. Ooh.
Yeah. It challenges you so much in a way
Yeah.
that forces you to grow.
It pushes those
Yeah.
buttons.
Yeah. So who I was before I started, like when I just moved back from the UK, and who I was when the health hub was opening, completely different.
Was the time you felt like let me just go look for a job?
Oh my God. All the time.
All the time.
All the time. Oh my gosh. Especially when you hear these people who are getting paid like so much money,
Yeah.
and you're here paying, you're being paid zero. And you're working 24 hours.
You're putting in the work, but there is no pay. There is no financial reserve.
Yes. And then the emotional toll that comes from managing employees is something I completely underestimated. Because when I started, I was young. I was like 24, and I would love my employees like they're my brothers and sisters. And I'd be like, oh my gosh, we're doing this together. And that's not the case.
That's not the case.
At the end of the day, an employee has come to further himself, and that's good. And so when an employee would leave, to just break my heart. And I just be like, oh my God, how am I going to manage?
Oh my God,
but with time, you just get used to it.
That is like my nightmare, right? Look, I fear it. Like something I fear. Okay, now I should not say the word fear because I'm rubbing that out of my vocabulary.
Nice.
But every time, every time I have someone that is maybe going through training, as soon as we're getting I haven't experienced it yet, but I know it's going to happen because also I give them room to like, hey, you're not stuck here.
Yeah.
If you really feel like you've got something better, I'll support you. Like I give that space to someone, like if you want to go, like I would love you to stay and build this thing with me. But if you get a big opportunity, don't ever feel bad. Like I give them, but can I go? Kuivuga, it was me shaking the fear out of me. I'm like, let me put it out in the universe. Like I'm okay with this.
Yes.
But you're not training somebody for like 2 months, and then as soon as they're getting into the groove of the business, you can now at least do other things. Who says it?
Yeah.
Entrepreneurs know this.
It's tough.
The bosses know.
It's tough. After the first few go, you become tougher.
Yeah.
You get used to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
She says.
Yeah. What is one piece of advice that you wish someone told you about motherhood before you became one?
But I think it's just more of to give yourself a break.
You didn't get this? Like people didn't tell you that?
No.
Okay.
A lot of times,
They're telling you won't sleep.
Man, yeah. And everyone comes and they're just saying what you're not doing correctly. Umwana arashonje, ntabwo kumugaburira bihagije. All these different things that just create more.
Doubts.
Ko wabyibushye cyane. Beginda. My gosh.
And mostly if you used to be like super, toned.
Yeah.
And I've seen your old pictures, Nandi. Hot babe.
Thank you. So, people keep mentioning your weight. They keep mentioning how much you've changed. They keep mentioning how you're not available, like at work. Why aren't you still at work? Are you still at home? Really?
Yeah.
You're still at home 8 months later? And that would cause a lot of like stress for me because I'd be like, I need to show up for my work. I need to show up for this. And I think if someone had just told me to give yourself a break in a way that's consistent. Don't just wait until you really need it. Like find small. It doesn't have to be like huge. Just find small pockets of time throughout your day and just give yourself a break. Like don't expect yourself to be perfect in anything, and don't strive for perfection.
Yeah,
it's just don't strive for perfection.
Nobody told you that people will ask you ko wabyibushye. You would have asked me then. Like we will ask you. Better maintain. No, I'm joking. Yeah. So as we wrap this up, I would like to get personal a little bit. Yeah, you have shared with us what you do at the hub. Do you have like a transformational story you would like to share with us? Like a client came to you, and then that story that can resonate with somebody.
Yeah. So I think we have so many, but if I could focus on this one story, it would help to see how life can really be changed through your decisions. So we had a client once who was really struggling with back pain, had been for actually like 10 years, and it had just gradually gotten worse. And because of how long they'd had that back pain, they'd stopped working because they couldn't go to the office and sit for long. They couldn't stand for long. They couldn't be in the car for more than 30 minutes. And though even just their relationship with their spouse was being impacted.
Do you know the cause of the
So negatively.
of the injury, of the backache?
So I guess not, because it
Okay.
might be personal.
Okay.
But yeah, so even the relationship with the spouse.
So where I ask was more like, is it because of childbirth? Is it because of
okay.
Yeah. Or an accident, so that we know where to.
Yeah, so it was actually. So I feel like if I go into that, it might be give the person. But it was basically what they were doing in their work environment for many years when they were young, and they were completely fine when they were young. But then as they started getting older, is when the pain started coming. At that time when we met, they were around like 45, and so now they'd reached a place where it was impacting their relationship with their spouse, their intimacy. And even just overall happiness, because if you're always in a lot of pain, everyone is telling you it can't be healed, it's been a long time, you've gone to different doctors.
Yeah.
This client had gone to abroad, had gone to India, had done a lot to try and treat this problem. And it was just breaking my heart about how,
For suffering.
yeah. So anyway, so we started working together. And really, by God's grace, we started to see a lot of improvement. And as the improvement came, motivation. So they felt more motivated to keep up with the exercises, keep up with the workouts. And as we continued to progress, once the pain was subsided a lot, we started doing like controlled exercises together. And then the pain reduced even more. And then they were able to go back to driving. I remember the first time when they did like a long distance drive to like Gisenyi and back. And they were just like, oh my gosh, this is impossible. Yeah.
Miracle.
So seeing that just makes you so happy.
Yeah.
That doesn't always happen like that. But in this situation, that's how it went. Okay. And yeah, so they were able to get back to the usual, got back to work. And now are avid sports. They continue with their sports and continue with hiking, walking, all of that.
Hiking.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Okay, thank you for sharing.
No worries.
So, what would you say to a woman who is walking into your health hub today? And what should they expect to walk out of their feeling?
Oh, that's beautiful. I would say, I see you, first of all. I see all the things that you have on your shoulder. And at the Health Hub, like when I'm working with someone, I don't want to just see their problem. I want to see everything, so that we can find a solution that suits you. So what you can really expect is holistic care. Care that also comes with hugs.
Yeah.
Care by someone who really cares about you.
Who gets it?
Yeah, absolutely. And who is willing, I can't claim to know everything. I can't even claim to be able to treat everything. But I'm willing to go down that route, go down that road with you to figure out what is causing the problem and if we can fix it. Yeah.
That's nice.
Thank you.
Aww. I got emotional. Dad, so where can we find you?
So, where can you find me? I work at the Health Hub in Gikondo, near Merez Yambere, Merez 1, just before you go up to Rebero. I'm a full-time physiotherapist, but I also do management. But I've started a class, a postpartum class in Gachuriro. I did that because that's closer to home and closer to the clients that I had at the time. And so we do that. We meet every Monday, Wednesday, Friday in the evenings, and we work out together. We discuss diet. weight loss and overall habits to improve, like to make people healthier. But other than that, also on Instagram, you can find me on Instagram. Recently became more vocal.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, and we will leave all the details in the description box. And also on the screen, we will put the number that they can contact you on
Yes.
for directions and things like that. And also their Instagram handle so that you follow them and let's get better. And actually, you talked about like diet and everything. We didn't really talk about that. But in just like one word, one second, we talked about the physical. What about the internal? Like, do you do like juices for them? Like, okay, diet in general. Like, do you help tailor diets to every patient?
Yeah. So
Diet plan.
yeah. So I'm not a dietitian, but I do have a lot of knowledge around nutrition. So the nutrition aspect we tend to only do for our postpartum mothers, because we know that's such a huge thing. For other clients, we can give general advice. We do have a health bar at the Health Hub where we just make smoothies, some detox smoothies, some protein-filled smoothies, depending on what you need. Yeah. Just love to thank you, Mwiza, for creating this platform, taking your time out of your day to sit down with mothers, allow them to share their story, and hopefully that can continue to encourage more mothers. And I know that there's a few stories I've heard on your podcast that taught you something new. So I'm really hoping even with this one, it will teach someone something new.
Yes.
And I just want to encourage you to keep going. You know, we love your content.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. You're crying. I'm not crying. Thank you so
Yes,
much. That is
yes.
so sweet. I appreciate it. And woo, I feel like I'm geared up for the next episode. And that is the end of today's episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. And thank you for watching to the end. If you have, give us a heart emoji in the comment section. And yeah, everything else is in the description box. Don't forget to share to somebody who needs a little inspiration. Like and subscribe, by the way. Subscribe, okay? And yeah, that's it. Remember, mindset is power. Bye.